Well, thank you, Mark. Friends, it's good to be with you again. You know, in my early years of pro-life activism as a priest, one of our faithful activists on Staten Island in New York said to me, Father Frank, our media is the street. And that made such an impression on me. It's so true. Whether it's at the abortion clinic, in a public intersection, or any place out in public, we bring the pro-life message to those who aren't necessarily seeking it. Well, we have Janet Morani here, our executive director. And Janet, we recently had at our Preach for Life office someone who really knows this truth inside out about street activism.
Well, yes, and actually he's the son of the famous Joe Scheidler, who we all say is like the godfather of the pro-life movement, and I admire him so much. But his son, Eric Scheidler, recently visited our office, and we sat down with Eric and asked him, you know, tell us about the activities of the Pro-Life Action League and your street activism. So let's see what Eric had to say.
Well, my father, Joe Scheidler, founded the Pro-Life Action League 30 years ago in 1980. After about 7 years in the pro-life movement, he saw a real need to get people involved in their local communities with grassroots activism, protest and prayer vigils, sidewalk counseling, and things like that would bring the pro-life battle right to their own homes, their own communities. And that's what the Pro-Life Action League is all about. Well, the most important activity that the Pro-Life Action League does and advocates is sidewalk counseling outside of the abortion facilities. We've learned from experience that so many of these women who are going into the abortion clinic really have not had the opportunity to speak with anyone openly without pressure. They're being pushed into this decision by circumstances, very often by the people in their lives. Often the father of the child is pushing the woman. The sidewalk counselor is there to be that last face of Christ before the abortion is committed, so the woman has an opportunity to explain her situation to someone who's not going to be pushing her, who's going to really listen, try to offer her the help that she needs. And that's really the most important mission, I think, that the Pro-Life Action League is involved with. The Pro-Life Action League really focuses on training people to be able to counsel the abortion-bound woman. We have several different methods that we use. We have a great training video called No Greater Joy. You can watch that at our website, prolifeaction.org, and see what's involved. We have training seminars held all over the country. We're willing to travel anywhere. We've been to Hawaii and Maine, opposite corners of the nation, just in this past year, to take those folks who have gotten their feet wet with the prayer vigils and bring them to the next level where they're empowered to reach out and say the right thing that will appeal to that woman and help her to choose life for her child. Well, the thing to understand is that when the woman arrives at the abortion clinic, she has largely blocked the child out of her mind. She thinks that she has no other choice. And what she needs is a compassionate voice. So we appeal to her sense of self-interest. One of the methods we use, in fact, it's called the Chicago method after having been founded in our home city of Chicago, is to reach out to the woman with concerns about the health and safety of the abortion facility. We hunt down the lawsuits that have been filed against the abortionist and the abortion clinic and try to share those with the woman. She's concerned about her own well-being, and that's one hook we can use to try to appeal to her. We know from the testimony of people who've gotten out of the abortion business that when we're there, it changes the entire atmosphere inside the abortion facility. There's a great deal more tension. They make mistakes. They forget to carry their clipboard from one room to another. They don't answer the phones. They get rattled by the fact that we're there. It really bothers them. And it should, because we are that witness calling them to conscience for what they're doing. Our presence outside the abortion facility is really a rebuke to what they'd like to believe is just another job. It isn't. They're participating in killing children in the womb, the one place in creation made for their safety and protection. And the fact that someone is pointing the injustice of this out to them is a real challenge to their consciences. Many of them react with hostility. Sometimes they repent, they quit, and get out of the abortion business. And that's a day of tremendous celebration whenever that happens. Well, the Pro-Life Action League is committed to the idea that Americans will never give up their support for abortion until they see what abortion really is, what abortion looks like, what it does to the unborn child, the horrible dismemberment that abortion means for the unborn child. So we go out on the streets with our Face the Truth tours. We have large posters. They're about 3 feet by 5 feet. We have volunteers that hold these posters out on the street, showing America what abortion looks like in the first, second, and third trimesters. We also have pictures of fetal development and placards that show where people can get help. So we're not there just to shock and disturb, but also to try to get people to seek out the help that they need to choose life. And we have a tremendous impact when we go out there. Many people are upset. They don't want to see abortion. I don't want to see abortion. It's disturbing, and it should be disturbing to us. But with 3,400 unborn babies being killed every single year, every single day, with 3,400 unborn babies being killed every single day in this country, it's a kind of scale of killing that simply must be exposed. It's hard to get our heads around that many unborn babies. But when you see the picture of baby Malachi killed in the second trimester, or the baby killed in the first or third trimester, you see what abortion really is, and it begins to break down that support. Even if people are angry with the pro-life activists for a little while after driving through a display, that image sticks with them. And when the decision to talk to a son or daughter about abortion, or a coworker, or even one's own husband or wife, that picture is going to still be there. The most common objection that I hear is, what if little kids see these pictures? I grew up looking at these pictures. When my dad first started to fight abortion full time, I was 6 years old. I can't remember a time that I didn't know what an aborted baby looked like. And they're troubling images, but if the parents react with calm and explain to the child, these are babies that are being hurt, and these people are trying to stop that hurt from happening, then the children can reconcile with it, and it makes sense to them. It's when the parents overreact, when the parents start screaming and yelling. We've had parents drive by swearing a red streak and blaming us for the fact that their kid's upset. Well, maybe the kid's upset because dad is swearing at strangers out on the street. If the parents are calm, the child will be calm. And that's, I think a lot of times the possibility of children seeing the pictures is really just an excuse. People don't want to confront the reality of abortion, so they kind of try to use the children as a shield. We do try to make it possible for people to avoid the display. We've got warning signs that we put up. People can choose not to drive that route. We make sure there's an alternate route, but they almost never do. They go through the display with their kids and maybe get angry about it at us, but what they're really angry about isn't us. It's the reality of abortion and their complicity in it. Well, training activists is what the Pro-Life Action League is all about. We aren't just doing this stuff, we're teaching other people to do it. We have a training packet for Face the Truth. We've got a video, and it's a great recruitment tool. It's just 11 minutes, and a how-to manual, very careful instructions about how to put together a display, dealing with police, dealing with local laws, dealing with the public and the media, and so forth. We are more than willing to travel around the country. We've done truth tours in South Dakota, down in Florida. We're doing them all over the country. Here in New York, we've done Maryland, Kentucky, Indiana, and raising up more people to conduct their own Face the Truth tours is a big part of our mission. We recently made it possible for truth tours to begin in Colorado Springs, Colorado. We had a fellow out there who had raised some of the money for signs, and we had a matching gift program where we were able to get him some signs and get him some training, and now the people in Colorado are seeing the truth about abortion. In 2007, Planned Parenthood decided to open what was at that time the largest abortion facility in the United States in the town where I live, Aurora, Illinois. And when I heard about it, I went to action. We've been fighting Planned Parenthood out there ever since, and we've got a lawsuit going against zoning violations that they made. They lied to the city of Aurora. They lied about who they were, created a front company, falsified documents, said one thing to the city, another thing to the state, and we've got a case moving forward in Illinois State Court right now to hold them accountable for that and hopefully get the place shut down. We've had a constant prayer presence, a constant protest presence. Sometimes as many as 1,500 people have come out to protest this gigantic, we call it the Abortion Fortress. It's a massive building meant to make it difficult for us to protest and reach out to the abortion-bound mothers, but we're still maintaining a powerful presence there. Planned Parenthood was finally able to open despite all of our protests, but from that experience we learned a great deal about how to deal with Planned Parenthood, about how to tell our story to the media in a way that will be compelling and that will be heard, and we've been able to share that experience with pro-life groups around the country. Just recently we were in Cedar Rapids, Iowa to protest when the CEO of Planned Parenthood, the nation's largest abortion provider, came to give a speech and celebrate the presence of Planned Parenthood aborting babies in Iowa. And we got tremendous media coverage for that and organized a fantastic protest. And that all came from the experience that we had fighting Planned Parenthood on the ground in Aurora, Illinois. We've also helped activists in Virginia, in California, Montana, Florida, all around the country with what we've learned there. We're becoming the experts in fighting Planned Parenthood on the ground.
Well, we're so grateful for the example and teaching of Eric Scheidler, and we're grateful for the example and teaching of another great man, Pope John Paul II, revered by Catholics and others as well. And he said to young people when he came to Denver for World Youth Day, don't be afraid to go out into the public streets and sidewalks to bring the message of the gospel of life. So all this activity out there on the streets and at the abortion facilities was very much supported by Pope John Paul II, whom I was privileged to know personally and to work with at the Vatican. So, Janet, this really is a call right from the heart of the gospel.
It is. And of course, May 1st is a special day because that's the day that the Holy Father beatified John Paul II, and that means he's on the path to sainthood, just like Mother Teresa.
Well, the Church puts a special stamp of approval on
Yes.
his whole message.
His whole message. You know, and also I want to look ahead now. You know, Father, in June, we have Pentecost as the next big feast coming up. And of course, we have a special Pentecost Novena Prayer for Life that people can order from us, absolutely free. Just go to priestforlife.org/store, that's our online store, and order that for your family, your prayer group, and your whole parish. Absolutely free. We'll send you that Pentecost Prayer for Life.
The Holy Spirit is the advocate. He advocates for us. And when he fills us, he makes us advocates for one another, especially for the helpless.
And to go out to the street with that Spirit.
He sends us out, just like he sent out those apostles from the locked room. So friends, do keep in touch with us. 10stepstoendabortion.com, our new website. Now, Mark, back to you.